Is 2021 a prime? Somebody check the square root of 2021 for me. I want to use some number theory technique to check if it is a prime. 44 point, so let's say 44. There are prime numbers between that, right? So I don't think it's a prime. I don't think it's a prime.
It's 44.9. So
Yeah, I just picked 44. Usually there's a theorem that has to do with, if you find the square root and you can find prime numbers from 1 to that square root, is a check of primality. Okay, never mind. I'm just speaking nonsense. Don't worry. Forget I said nonsense. Okay, let's look at area of triangle by trig and by a method called Hero's formula. Area of triangle. So two things we want to quickly do. So two ways to find the area of triangle. You already know one. There are three altogether. One is the half base times height that you always do. What if you don't have your height? Which other way can we do it? So, which is why. So the first time we're going to do area of triangle by 3. That I will show you how, but for the other one I'm just going to state the formula and then you'll be able to do it. Now, there is a condition to use this approach. When your half base times height fails and you have the following information. This is used if two sides, any two sides, maybe I say any two sides, and the angle between them, are known. Okay? If you don't have your half base times height, what do I mean by you don't have your half base times height? Check this out. You have a triangle, the base is 10, but instead of this height, this is not given. Maybe you know this to be 8 and this to be 6, and they say find the area. Okay? So, instead of giving you actually the third side, they will give you an angle here. I think this angle is 36.9. They will give you this angle and say, oh, find the area. Last time, I told you to find the height, right? In the worksheet. You work out the height, then you use the height, but there's a direct way to do it. That's what we want to try to do today. Okay? So I'm going to show you something in general first. And this also works with parallelogram and trapezium. I'll show you as an extension of this. But area of triangle is what I want you to focus on. Comprende? Understand? Some are looking at me like, what are you talking about? I'm speaking English. Okay, mathematical English. Okay, now, please pay attention. Don't write. Listen. Let's say we are interested in finding the area of this triangle. But we are given the base B and the slant side A. We don't know anything about perpendicular height. So this A, the slant side, okay, it's not perpendicular. If we had a perpendicular side, it's easy, base times height divided by 2. Okay? But rather than that, you have the slant side. And then you have an included angle, let's call that theta. It could be called anything. After all, it's just a variable. Are you with me? Now, we're interested in finding the area of this. The method that we know until now is that we need the height anytime we want to find the area, right? So let's pretend we want to use that method. So we don't know the base, we don't know the height, we want to try to find the height ourselves. Because so far, from our primary, we must know the height to be able to find the area. Understand? Now, when I try to do this, I want to claim. You tell me if my claim makes sense or not. I want to claim that this is b over 2 and this is b over 2. Yes or no? So Lance says no. Why?
Because it's not in the middle.
It's not?
The line of the height is not in the middle.
It's not in the middle. How do you know that?
Because
What if my diagram was just rubbish?
Because it's not an isosceles.
How do you know it's not isosceles?
It's slanted.
It made some point, but let's hear others. Yes, sir.
Because it doesn't have the lines.
Which line?
I don't know what it's called.
The line to show that
It's
it's
isosceles.
equal. So you cannot assume. Until you have this dash that you put here. Then you can assume it's isosceles. And if it is isosceles, it means this line will be what? A line of symmetry. And if this line is a line of symmetry, then it is guaranteed that you have halfway. Then you can say b over 2, b over 2. Otherwise, you cannot assume. Just like I draw this. Is this a right angle triangle?
No.
Why do you say that? It's not indicated. Unless you have that indication, do not assume. That could have been 91 degrees. And it could have been 89 degrees. Unless it's indicated, do not assume. When you write SAT, especially, I encounter some of this stuff in SAT, it's always like a point being emphasized on in the preparatory materials back in the days. It will say diagram not drawn to scale. You have seen it also in your IGCSE. They give you a picture, they say it's not drawn to scale. So don't assume it's just a sketch. Until they tell you this is 5 centimeters, don't say, actually it looks like 5 centimeters. No. Am I making sense? You have a question?
No.
Okay. So because of that, we have no information about this part. The only thing we know is that from this picture, we can get this part of the triangle. We don't know if it is the smaller part or the bigger part after it is divided. So we can get, maybe put it this way. This is H, this is A, this is theta. We know nothing about this. Are you with me? The only information that is certain is this remains A, and this is our height, and this is our theta. We cannot say what this is, because we don't know if it is isosceles or not. If it is isosceles, then we are lucky. But can we work without being isosceles, so that we work in general? Are you with me? I'm trying to tell you why only one trig ratio is applicable here. Because with the information that is guaranteed, you can only talk about which of the trig ratio, sine, cos, or tan. In this diagram, sine, cos, or tan. Raise your hand. Don't cross answer. Divino.
Sorry.
I haven't even called you. You wait. I may be calling Lason. Slow down, sir. Okay? Sine. Understand? This is sine. Because our opposite is what, Kiana? H. This is our opposite. Our hypotenuse is what, Megan? Come on, that shouldn't take time. Hey, you are not Megan. Stay out of this. Excuse me, I ask you to stay out of it. Yes, Megan? Unless I've wasted my time all through last week. This should take 5 seconds. Caris, our hypotenuse is what? A. What exactly is the problem, miss? Because A and H are already there. They are the variable from here. They do not mean hypotenuse or adjacent. What does H mean here? The H written in blue means what? Speak louder. The H written in blue means what here?
Height.
How can that confuse you with hypotenuse? What exactly is the problem? Be focused. So, we have O and H, which means it's just sine. From here, then we can say sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So sine theta, the opposite is height H, hypotenuse is side A. Right? So which means our height is A sine theta. Do you agree? The only thing we're waiting for is just to find the height. We already know the base. So we can use the old method and say that area is equal to half times base times height, which some of you call base times height divided by 2. We are speaking the same thing, just writing it in different forms. Then we're going to have half times base. Now that we have our heights, A sine theta. Are you with me? That is why we have another formula, which is half AB sine theta. That's where we got that from. Mr. Thomas, can you check that we have the entire board captured?
Yes.
Thank you. What does this mean? It means that whenever you have a triangle with 2 known sides, and the angle between those 2 sides are known, you can find the area directly by multiplying the 2 sides and calculating the sine of the angle between them and dividing everything by 2. So, class, how do I find the area of this one? No, I'm not asking for the answer. It will be what? Half times what times what? That's what I want to hear. Quickly, anyone? Anyone can speak. Anyone can speak.
Half times 8 times 10 sine 36 million.
Is that correct or wrong?
Correct.
I'm speaking to 25 people. Is that correct or wrong?
Correct.
Thank you. That's how you find the area of the triangle, by trigonometry. This is all you need to remember. You don't do this. This is all you need to remember. If anybody goes back to draw the height, trying to find this nonsense, I'll give you 0. I'm not even going to look at your work. You focus. You don't try to deviate because you want to impress me, that you know how to dribble. Leave that for the soccer players. Go straight to the point. So if you have a question, the first thing I want to see is stating this formula. Area is equal to half AB sine theta. Then identify your A from the diagram, substitute. Identify your B from the diagram, substitute. Identify your theta from the diagram, substitute. Theta is the angle between A and B, not anywhere else. Not anywhere else. Understand? So, I said I was going to extend this to parallelogram. Of course, you don't need to worry about it so much. Let me say extension to parallelogram. Parallelogram and trapezium, actually. Of course, I'm not testing this in class, it's just for additional knowledge. So it's a similar approach. If you have a parallelogram, what's the area of a parallelogram?
Base times height.
Base times height. So if you have your base B And instead of the height, you have the slant side. Maybe A. Again, you can do this. So similarly, you try to find your H using this. And again, your H will be A sine theta. Then the area of the parallelogram will be what? Like this one. Will be what? Speak louder, please. AB sine theta. So it's the same technique. Okay? If you have a trapezium also, I'll write that, of course. If you have a trapezium also, let's say you have a trapezium, you know what the trapezium is, right? This shape. So for trapezium, we usually call this A and B, right? And then maybe you have angle theta. Instead of the height, you have side C. Okay? Can somebody guess? What is the, if you know the height of the trapezium, what is the area? Speak, please.
A plus B
A plus B times height.
divided by 2.
Do we know is not the only one in this class? Why is it the only one speaking? I prefer this. Half A plus B times height. I kind of prefer this. But either way is fine. So, similarly, what do you think the formula will look like? In terms of trig, the sum.
What half of A plus B times sine theta?
Is that correct?
No.
That's not correct. Say that again. Maybe he didn't hear you.
Okay. 1 half times,
Just say half.
or half times A plus B times C.
But that wasn't what you said before. You said sine theta. That's why I said it's wrong. It should be C sine theta. Does this make sense? So if you have slant instead of the height, it's just going to be the slant sine the angle. That will replace your height. That's what we are saying. Does that make sense? So I'm going to show this maybe when you are walking. Mr. Oscar, are you lost? A bit. Okay, just these two, right? This one is clear.
Oh, that one's good.
This one is clear.
Yeah.
This one is also clear.
The last one.
Don't worry, I'll show that later, but I don't just want to waste the class time. Now, before we go into the example, another way for that finding area is called the Eros formula. Has anyone used the Eros formula before? No? Or maybe before I use the Eros formula, let's take one or two examples on this. And that we'll do together. So, find the area. Let's say this is a shape, this is 60 degrees, this is 10, maybe this is 5, for example. Another shape. Okay. This is 150 degrees. So this is 8 cm. Meter. Let's say this is 4 cm. Hopefully this is a reasonable triangle. Should be. So I changed the format from what that looks like. Here, find angle theta given the area. So here, put theta here. I'm using this side a lot. Put theta here. So this is 10 cm. Let's take this as 8 cm. Maybe 8 cm here instead. And area is 24 cm squared. So with these three examples, we should be fine. Okay, so the first one, you want to find the area. Jenny, what do you What are you expected to write first? Speak fast and loud. The formula. So, and the formula will be what, everybody? You write half, I mark it wrong. What is the formula? What do you write? Area equals to, if you write half, I mark it wrong. If you cannot describe what that half means, that half and the entire line, what it stands for, I'm just going to assume I don't know what it stands for. I've said it times without number. You guys are getting used to writing nonsense. And I still have Form 5 doing the same. In fact, one of the problems I have with some Form 5 is also lack of focus. I don't want you to get used to that until you get to Form 5. You ask for area. Somebody is going to beat about the bush. Area is right there where Matthew is sitting. Someone is going to go this way, tell me about Tiago, come to Megan, come here, go to Lasson, then come back to Matthew. I'm like, what is this? Initially, I say it verbally. No, this is not necessary, go straight to the point. But now I've started penalizing. Once I see that, oh, you're starting with the story of Mungo Park, I just cancel everything. I've read it before in the storybook. I don't need you to tell me the story. If you cannot go straight to your point, I'm not ready to read any epistle. Understand? We need to have focus. And the reason why I'm not taking it lightly with them is that focus is a big deal in IB. From the extended essay to their internal assessment is 20% of their final grade in IB. The exam they write in school is just 80%. There's a paper they have to write called internal assessment that we have to supervise. Focus is a very important criteria. So when they say write your internal assessment, exploration, this guy might write 500 words and get 20 over 20. I may write 5 million words and still get 4 over 20. Because it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality of what you have written. Some students like to do that because they want to show off their English. Spoken English is fantastic, they can write. Or maybe, oh, they are very smart, they are giving us different ideas. Go do that in GP, in psychology. Go and do that there. Or in social studies. Or maybe when you start political science as a course, then you can debate in your paper when it is requested. Not in math. Just go straight to the point. Nobody has time to waste. Am I making sense? So number one, stop beating about the bush when question is being asked. Or maybe, oh, you solve the area and say, oh, also we can solve it in this way. Did I ask you to tell me we can also solve it in this way? So if you're not asked, don't even bother. Am I making sense? Imagine the IB examiner asks 150 students to do, and every student is writing, we can solve it in 10 ways. So rather than marking 150 question, it's going to mark 150 times 10. Just because everybody knows how to solve it in 1 million ways, and every way must be checked. Nobody has time for that. Do you understand? Pick the smartest way to do your work, write convincingly, but don't lose focus. Oh, because when I take 3 steps, I can get to Matthew. Enough. Actually, when I get to him, he can tell me where she is, she can tell me where she is, then I can come this way, then I'm going to come to Corinne. Corinne can tell me Matthew used to be very close, sitting with Corinne, and then Corinne can tell me where I could find this guy, and this guy could tell me where Matthew. Are you kidding me right now? Who's asking for all this epistle? Find Matthew. 2 steps, I get to Matthew. That's it. I find Matthew, and I've told you how to get to Matthew. Brief. Showing my steps. Not writing unnecessary stories, so I know that you know everybody in the whole class. Do you get my point? So be descriptive and be focused. Your description is writing area is equal to, not just writing half times base times I. No. What does half times base times whatever mean? We want to know. And that's the first word that should appear. It's part of the mathematical communication in IB. IGCSE may not care. But a lot of IB students are struggling with mathematical communication now. Because they are used to it from primary, from middle school. So it's difficult to change. Very difficult for them. And they get to an exam which doesn't say, oh, Manuela got 90%, so Manuela gets a 7 in IB. No, IB doesn't work like that. There are boxes to be checked. One of them is mathematical communication. Guess what? If IB says variable x and you decide to write this way, there are two different things in IB. I showed you one criteria sometimes, right? Correct notation. No, they use the word appropriate notation. Can you believe that? But some of you still write your notation differently in Form 3. And when somebody called you out, you frown your face. We are telling you because of IB. And GCSE, of course, you get away with this nonsense, but not in IB. Area. If you don't write the word, use capital A. Some people will write area is equal to, what is this? This is side A, not area. Do you understand that? Appropriate notation. So please be careful, all right? Now, area is half AB sine theta. You are welcome to write it this way. Area is AB sine theta divided by 2. Your choice. Understand? Now, then we substitute. Half times, any one of them can be A or B. It doesn't matter. A or B are those two sides. It doesn't matter which one is A or B. As long as the angle is in between them. If the angle is here, A and B are here, you cannot use it. You have to find this angle before you could use it. Understand? So A and B, I'll just take 10 times 5, then sine 60 degrees. This is what you put in your calculator. Make sure you are in degree mode. Put that, everybody. Let me show you something here. This X. Yes? What do we got? 21.7. All right, meter squared, because the sides are in meter. Okay? For this one, you see, I label it XYZ. So you are welcome to say half. A and B are these two sides. Do you agree? So this time around, they are XZ times YZ. Can you see that? Sine Z. You can write that. Or you just stick to your half AB sine theta. Do you understand what I've done? Everybody understand what I've done here? Raise your hand if you understand what this means. I've just written the AB in the notation of a line. Put your hands down. Thank you. So let's substitute. Half times 8 times 4 sine 150. There should be half 8. Check. 8. That's it. Okay? All right. This says find the angle. Where do we begin? Correct. As a student, what is the first thing you should write? Yes? Label. No, we don't need any label here. Manuela. Yes, sir.
Write the formula.
Write the formula. That's the first thing. Even if you don't know what to do, write the formula. You must go get 1 mark for the method because the method is clear. And what is my formula? Area is equal to half AB sine theta. Understand? Can you guess what the next thing will be? Change what? Change the subject to sine theta. We don't need to do that yet. But that's a very good move. Because we are looking for theta. She says change the subject to sine theta. Can you give her a round of applause for that? Very brilliant. Thank you so much. I will do that. Change the subject to sine theta. We can do that, but that is not necessary yet. Can you guess what the next thing should be?
We fill in.
There's a word that is expected in math.
Substitute.
Substitute. Do we have area?
Yeah.
Substitute. Half times. Do we have any of them?
Yeah.
We actually have both of them. Then this is B, the unknown. Okay? Now, This is going to be 5 times 4, 20. No, 40, right? This is 5 times 8, 40. So that's 24, 40 sine theta. Can you see? So now it's making sense. Jody, what's the next thing to do? 24
divided by 40
is equal to?
sine.
Good. Okay, Anna, what's the next thing to do here? Theta equals to, so before then, maybe I flip it back so we are not confused. Yes? Then theta equals arc sine 34 over 40. What is that from your calculator?